I'm the number one stunner. Yeah, let's not repeat that line. Let's not do that. Anyway, guys, back here with another podcast, another one, and today we'll be talking about you give her an inch, she takes a mile. Typical shit, right? Let's get into it. Alrighty then. So this podcast, I believe, 190. It's so funny. I'm in a group chat with my boys, and we're talking about just the rap game in general. Because at the podcast, I normally like put out I usually normally play a song, and then we get into the whole podcast thing. I didn't do that. I haven't been doing that format these last few podcasts, but we were talking about the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing and Tory Lanez, and we had seen some leaked text messages, and it was like how she felt guilty, how Rock Nation is like beating her and putting her face in the toilet, how she's like, low key, like, wanting to unalive herself because she feels guilty about the whole Tory Lanez. Just a whole bunch of crazy shit. It was a really good topic. I was telling them we should do a podcast on that shit in general. But let's get into the topic. Podcast number 190. Give her an inch and she takes a mile. And I thought this was a really good thing to talk about. And this is really Patreon content. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Patreon, because these exact formulas in which we're about to talk about, this stuff is on Patreon all the time. All this stuff is on Patreon. So make sure you hit the link in the bio, subscribe to Patreon. $16 tier. That's the best one to do, because that's where everything is at. You go try to be cheap, $3 tier, you're only going to see like TikToks, exclusive TikToks, and like maybe some podcasts or something like that. $16. Make sure you join that. But anyway, give her an inch, you take a mile, right? And I try to tell a lot of guys, don't fall for these silly ass traps. And a lot of the times, I don't think women do it purposely. I think it's like, sometimes I almost think it's like a subconscious thing, right? I think, men slowly start to get their freedoms taken away when you give into the whole narrative of, obviously if you give into happy wife, happy life, obviously your freedoms are going to get taken away. But these things start slowly. And I think that it's a natural thing. I think that some women do it deliberately, some women don't. Like, for example, like and this is the most ridiculous. Most women will try you on this, like the working out thing. Like, say, for example, if you work out a lot, she'd be like, why are you always going to the gym? You work out too much. In the past, I've had a lot of women try to say that to me, but I'm disciplined. Boxing is life. Like, I train every day. I'm a professional fighter, so it's a little different. So I'm in the gym every day, and I'm always staying consistent, because you got to understand, boxing is not like basketball or football where you have an off season. No, you can fight all year round. So, and your skills are always improving. That's if you're that type of person, if you're disciplined. So if a girl says, oh, why do you always have to work out? You don't have to work out all the time. You don't have to work out every day. No, and she'll try to keep you from working out. And it's so funny. There's a theory that, this is why some women may go for men that are fat. This is why, right? Because when she sees a man with physique, when she sees a man that is muscular, he seems disciplined. And because he seems disciplined, that guy doesn't seem like someone who she can get over on, right? So, when a girl says, oh, you don't always need to work out, you don't always need to do this. And this is what you'll see a lot of the times. A lot of the times when people get into relationships, they let themselves go. Like, people let themselves go all the fucking way. All the way. Like, I always thought like it was like a high school thing where, like, after high school, people just get fat and they lose a whole bunch of weight. That's always what I thought it was. But then I started to see the correlation with relationships. Like, a lot of people will, get into these relationships and you go out to eat a lot, you spend a lot of money. That's bound to happen. But you also, you start getting less active. You You wake up in the morning, you go to work, you see the girl laying there looking all good. You don't even want to go to work. You just want to lay up and then make love and do all that good stuff, you know. And then, she's always eating for you, especially if she's somebody who knows how to cook, right? Or maybe you like to go out to eat a lot. And it's a lot harder for you to wake up and get out of a comfortable bed and wake up and make love to a girl than just wake up and go to the gym, right? You got to go to work. So you're going to go to work because you got to make a living. But I just think it's funny, but you got to be careful of these little things. You got to stay disciplined. And her saying not go to the gym, I don't think most people aren't going to really test you on that. They might, but if they will, some will, and it might start small. Oh, you can miss a day. You can miss 2 days. It's all right. Let's take a vacation. No, stay disciplined. You schedule time for whatever it is that you guys want to do, but it doesn't interrupt your regular schedule. Because you have to understand, before she came into your life, you had a life. And you also have to keep a life too. You can't let her come down and just dismantle your shit, right? There's certain things that you don't compromise, right? I always said it. There's an old saying that I always say, if you go back and listen to the old podcast, by the way, guys, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Link in the bio, Spotify podcast. That's what we're doing right now. It's, God first and then your purpose, right? And a lot of the times you attract these girls because you're on your purpose. You're looking good. You're in the gym. You're on your shit. And you get with her and all that shit foils down. That's one of the biggest mistakes guys make. You think once you get the girl, oh, job done. That's it. No, motherfucker. You just getting started. You just into the totally different realm. The job is not done. And I think this is a part of the reason, not the only reason. It's a contributing factor, so to say, why divorce rates are so high. Men give into the narrative of happy wife, happy life. They don't think that they have to take charge. It's one. Obviously, women are not the same, but neither are men. But two, men forget that you have to continue to game your girl or game your wife once you get her. Once you work hard to get her, now once you got her, I'm done. Got her. I ain't got it. No, there is game for your wife. Like you game girls, like when you're single, and you got to have game for your wife too. You got to know how to be romantic. You got to know when to stand on business. You got to know when to tell her no. You got to know when to be challenging. Right? You got to know when to implement some competition anxiety so you keep on her toes, right? Sometimes she wants to have sex, say no. Make her think, you know what I'm saying? But you got to stay on it. And guys get comfortable and they think, oh, I ain't got to do nothing. Or she already my girl. She ain't going nowhere. She says she's going to love me forever. Let's look at divorce rates. Divorce rates don't correlate, right? And I think you can find the same thing in relationships too. Most relationships last, I feel like 2 years or maybe a year, if that. Nowadays, people just hooking up. I got guys hitting me up with new problems. You got guys on Patreon talking about, well, I get the girl, I crack it down. I made her come, like it was amazing. She loved it, but then she don't hit me back. Well, that's either one of two things. Either it wasn't as good as she made you seem, either that, or she's just that kind of girl that's just moving like a dude. She's just loose, right? So don't think when you get into a relationship that you got to start compromising things. Other things too, like, why do you need to hang out with your friends so much? Oh, let me come with you to hang out with your friend. No. Understand healthy space is very important. Another contributing reasons why a lot of relationships don't last long. You want to hang out with your girl every single day. No. You need healthy space. Give her some space. Some people go a little too extreme, right? When you're away, it makes the heart grow fonder. I understand this concept when I was in fucking high school, right? When I don't text you, I want you to miss me a bit. When I text you, that means I missed you. You can't get tired of somebody if they're always in your face. It's like, come on. Think about it. Think about it like, a bottle of water, right? Like this drink right here. This is a drink. I got this drink. Sip it. Oh, delicious. Now imagine if it was water. We take that for granted because it's always around. It's always around. It's very accessible. If I can't go get it from the store, I can pour it from my faucet. I wouldn't advise drinking faucet water though. That shit is not good for you. there's been all types of chemicals and crazy shit found in faucet water. Always get a filter, dilute that shit, do something. Don't drink faucet water. But that's not the point. The point is we take it for granted. Now think about you and how accessible you are. Not saying that if you live with your wife, just don't see her. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you need healthy space. If you're under somebody all day, if you're around them all day, eventually that is something that will be taken for granted. That's why I tell some guys, when you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, take vacations with your friends, take vacations with your boys, go to your mom's house for a weekend. It's nothing wrong with healthy space. And yes, it may seem a little impossible, especially if your girl loves you 1,000%. Like some people who really, really love you, it's almost like impossible. They're like attached to your hip. I get it. But healthy space is better for you in a relationship. So when you get these things like, oh, you don't need to hang out with your friends. Why do you need to hang out with your friends so much? You would rather hang out with your friends over me. And then they'll try to guilt you, right? Try to play the mind games. Oh, you just don't care about me that much. You don't, bro, I see you every fucking day. Some of you guys are seeing your girls 3, 4, 5 times a week. Some of you live with them and they're complaining about you hanging out with your friends. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated. This is how your freedom slowly gets snatched away because a lot of people don't have the awareness to see it. They don't have the awareness to see it. You need the awareness to see it, and that's how the shit really starts. And then they'll try to manipulate you, be like, oh, well, oh, you must be gay. You must be, are you on a DL? Why you always want to hang out with your boys so much? Like all types of craziness, all types of craziness. But you have to understand that when you're in a relationship, don't allow your freedoms to be taken away because that's how they slowly get snatched away. And you may not be thinking anything of it, like, oh yeah, that's not fine. I could pass up on my boys. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes, you know, I don't want to hang out with my friends, right? My friends don't give me head. I can't have sex with my friends. I don't get down like that, right? So it's like, yeah, I'd rather hang out with my girl sometimes. And most of the time, you're gonna spend most of the time with your girl or your wife. It's usually how it's gonna go, especially if you're gonna marry this person and potentially have a family. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to pay attention and be aware and be conscious of the small things so your freedoms don't slowly get snatched away. And a lot of guys don't have an awareness for this. You can't sit back. And this is why I say when it comes to relationships, don't sit back and listen to a female. Not all the time. Some may have a level of understanding. But yeah, at the end of the day, men need to take charge. You have to understand that, like this, if you say this, if you try to give this logic, if we're being fair, you try to give this logic to a female, and you say, well, men are slowly getting their freedom snatched away. And this is the reason why. Oh, shut up. You must love men. You must be misogynistic. Oh, it's giving, I hate myself. Do you have a relationship with your mother? You know how the typical fucking cliche talking points. Sometimes you got to treat them like children. It's like, I don't even pay attention to the shit. I'm like, yeah, anyway, listen to me. Listen to me. I get guys messaging me every day on Instagram. It's like, well, bro, your podcast changed my life. Please bring back the broadcast. Like, I'm telling you, this shit is real. It's very real. I get guys paying for phone calls to talk about the same shit. It's the little things. You have to have this level of awareness, right? Especially like with dressing you. I think having your girl dress you is some of the most craziest things ever too. It's okay if she buys you a shirt here and there, right? But then when it goes, oh, I don't like that shirt. Oh, you need to take that shirt off. First of all, who the fuck are you talking to? I just never understood that, right? I remember being in a store and this guy, he's with his wife. It has to be his wife because they had a kid and everything. I wasn't looking for a ring, and he's like, oh, babe, what do you think about this? No, that is ugly. Put that shit back now. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, you sure I like it? No, put it back. I'm like, bro, what? Where's your balls? They're clearly in her purse because they're not on you, right? But that's how it starts small. It starts small. Like it starts with the small things. Oh, I don't like that shirt. Oh, you don't like it? I think I'm gonna get 5 more like it. That's really a shame, right? And some of you guys forget that when you were single and by yourself, you did all this shit on your own. You did all these things on your own. You dressed yourself. How you were dressing was just fine because she was still attracted to you. She still decided to lay down with you. So why now do you think you need to come to a conclusion where you need to be dressed like a fucking child? Right? Especially men that are married. I'm a little older now, so I know a lot of men that are married and their wife is like dressing them and dressing the kids. Oh, you basically one of the fucking kids. you a motherfucking child in your own house. How does that feel? How does it feel? How does it feel? But it's crazy. And look, you know, another bad part about that is when women will secretly, and most women would never admit to this, but they will secretly start to resent you. They will secretly start to resent you. And then you have a new type of issues, you have new type of problems that will arise in your relationship. Because I truly, truly believe deep down inside that women want to be led. And I believe this is like divine principles. I believe this is divine information, right? If you, especially if you're a God-fearing person, right? If you practice any of the Abrahamic religions, it's how the commandments usually come down. It's God, man, woman, and children, right? And even the Bible, Quran, Torah, whatever you want to, any of them. It says in the scriptures, men are supposed to lead the women, right? And so much so, and some is besides your basic obligations, is one of the paths to heaven, right? Even aside from the religion, if you're not a religious person, you know, this is the way it's been since the beginning of time. Even so much so you have like little like niches. I have like, this is a little weird, but even still to this day, not as much, but I have like women that message me that like are really into like doms, like dominant men, right? Like I remember on 2 separate occasions I had this 2 couple that wanted to pay me and said, "You seem very dominant. I see your attitude." One of them came from fucking TikTok, messaging me. I never did it. I swear to God, I never did it. Very tempting, but I feel weird about somebody watching me, and while you know, and that's haram. Like I'm not about to do that. But you have women that are into this, like very dominant, like to a different degree, like whatever you say goes type of shit. But in their actual day-to-day life, they're nothing like that. I've met people like that because they're not receiving it anywhere else. And they try to give into the narrative of oh, I'm an independent woman, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. But then when it comes to in the bedroom and this and I want to be submissive, because you're going against your nature. I believe it's truly a natural thing for women to want to do that. I'm not saying you have to be a slave. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion. But I think that when you're in a relationship and you give a woman too much responsibility, even though she may have asked for it, even though she may have pushed for it, I don't think that's naturally what they want. You know, it's that new Drake song. What was he saying? He's like, oh, sometimes I think these women just need somebody to tell them what to eat, tell them what utensils to use. And he was saying something to that effect. But it's true. I've seen over a dozen videos on TikTok alone where women, literally, even on dating apps. Oh, if you can't plan the first date, if I have to even think, red flag. Like what? I don't want to have to do nothing. So many women, oh, I'm getting tired of taking care of myself. I want somebody else to take care of me. This is ridiculous. All you have to do is listen. Listen. Women will ask for things that they don't want all the time. All the time. But you have to listen to the things that come out of their mouth. They'll say that and then be like, well, you know, oh, I'm independent. I don't need a man, but no, shut the fuck up. You do. Stop. I hate that bullshit. Women, it's a fucking illusion. You think you don't need a man. Yeah, you can work and earn your own money. But your mental health, your mental state, you know, in the 60s, 40s, 50s, women are happier. It's only until now, and you see this rise in like depression and anxiety amongst women. Every fucking other story on my timeline on Instagram, it's a female talking about her anxiety. When I was younger, I don't remember this shit. I don't remember anxiety being such a thing. Why? Women are taking on more and more responsibilities because you're fed this fucking lie that you don't need a man. We need each other. Not just to procreate. We need each other. mentally. Even children that are raised in two-parent homes, the kids are more well-rounded growing up. These are facts. These are studies that are done, right? You can't deny this shit. But back to my point of not allowing yourself to, you know, have your freedoms taken away. Because when you allow your lady to just take that shit over, you know, they're going to start to resent you. And that's why you have a lot of women, you know, where the real men at? I want a real man. I want this, I want that. But, you know, meanwhile, they asked for it. And you have to take responsibility for it too, because you didn't have the awareness. You didn't know well enough to say, well, I know that I have to lead. And it's small. They slowly nitpick at it. They pick away. Next thing you know, all your relationship is upside down, right? And a part of that comes from caring a little too much. Sometimes it's okay to say no. Some guys love their ladies, and there's nothing wrong with loving your lady. And that relationship doesn't have to look like a. And I think this is the problem with women when they hear this. Oh, Adam, they think that they're giving in, like they're being a slave, or that they're like giving into like some type of, I don't know. They think it's like servitude, or they're being a slave if they're submissive to their man. No, nobody said you can't have an opinion. Nobody said we can't have opposing views on things, right? But it's just a respect thing, you know? And when you do that, when you start to lose your freedoms, your lady's gonna resent you too. And that's the one thing nobody ever talks about. I think most of these cowards nowadays are even afraid to even speak about this shit, because I don't know, they're afraid of what people are gonna think. They're afraid of what people are gonna say in the comments. Everybody's just wants to be liked so much that if you're being real about something, you're gonna get hate. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a flying fuck. Nobody can't cancel me. What are you gonna do? Cancel my TikTok? What are you gonna delete? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Right? Another thing too, and this may seem minor, but testosterone levels are down more than ever. I just was watching a video. I forget what it was. Some doctor talking about how testosterone levels are down like 80%. And what was it? The guy in the video was talking about how he got his testosterone measured, and it was like a 900. The next time he went, it was like 1,000. And I got mine measured too. But the point is, he's saying when he spoke to his friends were like 200 and like 150 or something like that. I got mine was like 600. So I started taking more natural supplements to boost my testosterone. And mostly because I'm a professional athlete and I fight. So, you know, testosterone can do me well. And you can't take steroids, because if you take steroids, you know, you get disqualified or get barred or get like fucking suspended or something, right? But what testosterone does is it gives you that urge to want to accomplish things. It brings out, you know, the ambition in you. And these are the things it does, besides, you know, obviously in boosting your libido and making you more horny and increasing your sex drive, but it also increases your drive in general. You know, think about the drive that some men have when that woman's talking them crazy. You know, that's why, like, I see some guys just talk too crazy, and I'm just like, holy shit, dude. And you know what? A lot of the times it's not even on the dude. Like, some women just don't have respect for their men, right? Like, nowadays what I see is, oh, a man say something crazy, and she said, oh, who you think you talking to? No, who the fuck are you talking to, right? Like, why? Who are you? Like, it's like, dude, I'm a dude. I can backhand you and you'll go flying. Like, how are you trying to fight me? And that's another bad thing on some women. Some women, like, they think that they can fight men. We live in such a civilized world that you think that you can fight a man and it's gonna end good for you. You can't. But we live in such a civilized world where we have police, and men know better than to do that because there's consequences for it. They can face jail time. They can lose their freedoms. But then we have a lot of situations where some men don't give a fuck about that, right? I personally don't believe, and I wouldn't advise a man to just hit a woman, but you have some women who provoke it and they get in their face as if there's no consequences for it. But that's just a lack of respect for men, right? Like, I tell them, I would, like, my mom, she's not going to do it, but you know, I have exes where I would tell them, don't go back and forth with a man. Don't argue with a man, especially if the man's getting in your face and getting loud. Because if I'm not there to protect you, he can put his hands on you. You don't have a knife. You don't have a pepper spray, right? I feel like every girl that I've ever taken serious, I've got them a knife, a pepper spray, even if they didn't have a crazy mouth, because some women aren't aware of this, right? It's like I seen this clip where this guy's he's walking with his girl, and they like they give their perspective of what's going on in their head, right? And she's like, making my way downtown, walking fast. And he's like, oh, that guy by the exit looks suspicious. We should go this exit because it's clear over there. He's just aware of his surroundings, being practical and logical and just preparing for every situation. But meanwhile, her mind's in a different place. But this is why guys have to lead. You have to lead. Even for Richmond, with the few rich clients that I had, right? You give them an inch and they take a mile. And you don't even have to see this you don't even have to have clients. You can see it like on some of the gold digger pranks, whichever ones is real, right? They try to talk to the girl, they get her in the car, then they're talking, and she's like, oh, we should go out to eat and get something. Oh, out to eat? Oh, and then you can take me shopping. Shopping? Fuck yeah, I don't even know you. I'm gonna take you shopping, right? And then when they get disrespectful, oh, you gonna drop that neck? Oh, you disrespectful. Like, why do you think I'm gonna take you shopping? Right? You give them an inch and they take a mile. But I think that's something natural. I think that naturally women are always going to test you. Any real woman will tell you that. They're always going to test you. They're going to see what they can get away with. Women know who they can and who they cannot get away with shit. It's a God honest truth. God honest truth. And it always starts small, right? It's the small things like, with talking crazy. Some girls can talk to certain guys crazy. They'd be like, oh, chill, why you talk to another guy crazy? Not time out. Do me a favor. Don't talk to me like that. The typical, oh, but I'm just joking. I'm just playing. Okay, that's fine. But don't joke with me like that, in that way. From the jump, oh, he's not going to tolerate that. I already did it once. If I keep doing, he's going to stop talking to me. But even more, what you don't understand, when you check that shit, they respect you a little more. And it's a mutual thing. It's not like you're just disrespecting them, but they're going to try you. They're going to try you. You're always going to get had. You're always going to get tried. But you got to be careful with the small things. That's how it starts. You get your freedoms taken away. You got to stand up for yourselves. And I'm speaking for the guys who don't. I'm speaking for the guys who can't. Don't do it. Don't do it. You always got to speak up for yourself. By the way, guys, we're streaming on TikTok. I haven't really been looking at the comments. But it's true though, man. A lot of people aren't gonna like it, but fuck them. It's the truth. It's the God honest truth. And anybody who's real is gonna tell you. But when you have some type of experience, and you have some type of experience with women in general, you're gonna experience a multitude of different personalities and attitudes. And I think whether you're dating a good girl or somebody who's a city girl, the one thing they have in common, they're all going to test you at some point. There's always exceptions, right? There's always exceptions to the rules, but they're always going to test you. And another thing I wanted to talk about was social media. With the whole social media thing, the social media, it can be trying. It can be the social media thing is, I think, is what's changed our current dating, right? Because obviously people are more accessible. You have people that are more accessible. Women are more accessible. Has made cheating a lot easier, right? And it's also helped people get caught cheating a lot easier too. When you talk about you go back 40s, 50s, and 60s, the guys can have a family and then have a family on the other side of town and they would never know it. They would never know it. And then also, it plays on hypergamy when a lot of women, they have a lot of options, men too. But because of the way things are set up, the guys that are at the top usually win. They usually get the cream of the crop. They usually get the best. And then you have famous people too who date regular women. So you see, whereas your girl would never really even think about dating her favorite celebrity. Oh, that's just a pipe dream, right? Now it's not a dream. Now it's her actually getting pipe. Right? It's actually her getting pipe. And these rappers talk about it all the time. Like Drake said it. You have the most popular artist on earth, the highest paid. He's a billionaire. He said he likes dating regular women. So if you have a slightly attractive female, right? Say your female looks good and he's just scrolling on Instagram and he decides that your girl is the one. Oh, that relationship is going to be tested. Yep. Her faith is going to be tested. It's going to be tested that day. It's going to be tested. And I think that 9 out of 10 girls are going to choose up. They're going to go with Drizzy. Right? Even if it's just for the idea of a one night stand. And most women aren't thinking logically. They're not, oh, I could probably get some. No, that dude's going to pump and dump you. And if you really look good, you're just going to be, and I guess it could be a win if he's like, if you're a part of his, 20 girl rotation, then you're going to get some money out of it. He doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, he doesn't care, even if you're a fan. But social media, it just makes things so easy. And then on top of social media, you have dating apps. So, and this is why I tell you, you filter out the type of woman that you get. You got to have to filter them out. And that's why I talk about the having a filtering mechanism. Make sure you guys join Patreon, right? And you get this type of information, because when you filter out girls, right? I could say the celebrity thing will always be trying because it's a different level. It's a different level of validation. But because if you get a girl, you got a vindictive girl. Because I've heard of girls cheating because she thought her man was cheating and he actually wasn't. So she went out and cheated. All she got to do is get on a dating app. If she's a hard 6, because I remember like maybe 4 years ago, there's this girl I knew, she's a hard 5, slightly overweight, face is like a 4.5, but she had a fat ass. I kid you not, she had 7,000 likes on her Tinder, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What is this? This is crazy. This is crazy. So what I did was I was like, let's accept a few of these and see which ones we could get money out of. And I had them send it to my Cash App. This is crazy. I don't know why the fuck I did that, but listen, it was crazy. I'm just like, yo, like nuts. And this girl is she's not a baddie. She's not nothing. So if your girl's slightly remotely looking good and you had a vindictive girl and you don't really, if you think that she would cheat on you if she got the chance, don't marry this kind of girl. Don't take this kind of girl serious. If she doesn't have a loyalty bone in her body, do not take these girls serious. It's easy for them. And a lot of girls cheat and you'll never know. And the consensus is that women are better at cheating than men are. I don't think that's true, because motherfuckers that had a 2,000-year head start. But it's just that you don't expect it, especially if she's never been known to be a cheater, especially if you love her, especially if that's not something you ever expected, right? And then there's just like weird ass shit in society where you got to treat a girl like a princess, even if she acts like a fucking peasant, right? Even if she like doesn't respect herself, she's posting pictures half naked, and she's like, just doing dirty shit. She got tattoos on her face like Sexy Red. And I'm not saying that I don't like girls with tattoos on their face, but I don't think I've ever even talked to one with tattoos on her face. Yeah, no, that shit just looks dirty. I'm sorry, I can't. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take them serious. I can't introduce you to my family. I can't introduce you to my mom. The fuck, I'm Muslim. The fuck I look like, right? But social media is a game changer. Everybody's so easily accessible. And one more thing that it does is it inflates the egos. It inflates the egos. And this is advice for women. If there's any women watching or listening to the podcast, don't get it confused, right? And I hear this all the time. Oh, I got options. A woman will have a good guy and generally like him, but because she has this ego or this attitude, she won't compromise on certain things or give in to certain things. But then she'll have maybe about like a few thousand or a few hundred likes and think that she has tons of options. When about maybe 95 or 90, 80% of those guys don't want a relationship with you. They just want to get in your pants. So now these options are conflated from actual viable options. So then you got to kiss a whole bunch of frogs. Translation, you got to suck a whole bunch of dick before you get to the right one, right? And that's why a lot of women, I truly believe when a lot of women go celibate, they done ran through too many dudes. And they're just like, oh, I'm done. I'm going celibate. Yeah, because they done had a hard run. But that's social media for you. It's going to have its benefits and it's going to have its downs. It's going to have its pros and its cons. It's going to have its pros and its cons. But that's why in the last, I would say 65 years, any girl that I've taken serious, they're either don't barely or ever post on social media, have very little followers, or don't have social media at all, or just made a social media but doesn't really care about it, or just sends memes. It doesn't even barely post. Last time they post was when they created it, 2016. These are things and these are filters that you guys need to pay attention to. When you choose women, I said it in the last podcast. Don't give into that bullshit nature. Oh, you're a misogynist. Fuck that, because you got to stay with the person. You got to stay with them. If you're not happy, it don't matter whatever anybody else think. Don't give it to that bullshit. Oh, body count does it. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, man. Just like the NBA player. I talked about him to the last podcast and the podcast before that. He married this chick knowing she was an adult film star. And then she made a fucking OnlyFans and didn't tell him. Now he's upset. And to her credit, she said, you knew who I was when you got with me. But that's what happens when you think that. And then I seen her in an interview. She was like on fucking, I forgot what show it was. She was on some interview. I seen the clip. She's like, oh, all my bodies during when I did adult film star stuff. Oh, those don't count. Anything before that, it don't count. Bitch, what? So you got a few hundred guys that you on camera with, but those don't count? Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? Are you dumb? Are you fucking dumb? Get the fuck out of here. Like, that shit is crazy. It's crazy. It reminds me of that clip when Drea was like, oh, like she was like, oh, your wholeness. I feel like you could just delete it. Like it could be just deleted. That's not how the world works. That's not how the world works. And I think that for men, you have to be true to yourself. You have to know what you want. You have to know what you want as a man, right? Because there are some women that have a lot of experience and some men are okay with that. Some men are okay with a woman who is, loose. Some men are okay with a woman who does adult film star for work, right? But don't allow yourself to be manipulated into going with something that you don't like. Don't allow your desires to take over, yourself, right? Don't allow your desires to take over your ideals. Because I think your average man has this innate ability to care about if their woman has been with a bunch of men. It's natural. I think it's something innate. Don't allow yourself to, if that's not something you like, then say, you know what, that's fine. You can say what you want. And you don't have to tell anybody that. You keep that shit to yourself. You just sit back and then you get to know. This is why you don't just jump into relationships. Don't fall for that bullshit when they say, oh, well, I know when a man, he loves you and he likes you, he's going to wipe you up like this. No, fuck that. He's not smart. He's not wise. And he probably doesn't have enough experience. A lot of guys see a girl, she's pretty, know nothing about her. Month later, she's your girlfriend. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, she's your girlfriend. And then things after a few months, things start to slowly unfold and you run into a shitload of issues because you didn't take the time to get to know this person. And the same, that goes for both genders, And I mean men and women, right? I know there's like 5,000 different genders, but I mean man and woman, right? For clarification. But you have to. You just got to take these things into consideration. Don't just wife and don't give into the narrative. Oh, you're misogynistic. Body count doesn't. Fuck that shit. It matters. If we're just talking exclusivity, it matters. Men and women are different. We're not the same. Not saying one is better than the other, but when you get into this the bullshit narrative in society of, oh, well, oh, men and women are equal. Yes, we're equal, but we're not the same. So you can't, you can't compare apples and oranges. They're just different. And that's where a lot of people go wrong with the bullshit, But anyway, guys, this is podcast number 190. We're gonna end this one off. I'll look at some of the comments for a second and then off to bed. We got a hard work week this week. Send that off. Oh man, I don't think I was recording. Fuck. Alrighty then. You have a narrow view of the world, sir. Okay. No, I have ideals. I have beliefs. I'm a God-fearing person. Not everything is just goes, right? And this is what you'll see. Like, people, you're so closed-minded. No, I have beliefs, and I have a set of beliefs that I refer to my morals, and I try not to go out of that. I'm not perfect. God is good all the time, but that's what happens when you have a godless society. They just think that, oh, you can do whatever you want as long as you're a good person. Men could hate women but still smash them. Okay, what the fuck does that have to do with anything that I was talking about? Straight and narrow. Yes, I'm on the straight path. I do journal, actually. You need time for reflection all the time. Journaling is actually really good. Opinions on long distance. I think I put a video on Patreon about long distance dating. It's very much so possible. Like I said, you got to know the person you're with. Once you know the person you're with and who you're dating, I feel like it's very possible, but it's very easy to get deceived though. So you gotta know the person you're with, and you gotta be secure enough to date somebody who, especially depending on the distance. Some people may consider long distance dating you being a state away. Everybody's a little different. What are green flags you should look for? Well, social media, right? That's one. A lot is the things that you don't want, right? You don't want somebody that's vindictive. Vindictive women, stay far away from those. The vindictive woman will cheat on you because you cheated on her. Any woman that says, I got to get my lick back, oh, hell no. Run far away from her. Run far away from that woman. Because a high quality woman is going to, she's not going to cheat on you. They're going to leave you. You know how much energy it takes for you to cheat on somebody because they cheated on you? Come on now. Especially she's in her 30s and always partying and clubbing. Like, come on. Maturity. Where is it at? But like I said, that also depends on who you are. If that's not something you want, then that's not something you should go for. You have to understand your ideals and understand what you want. And then you go from there. Finding a person that's making the date and plans a lot of work just to cheat back. Yeah, for sure. Cheating back is like, it's dumb. There's a lot of extra energy. It says a lot about the person. If you take the time to cheat on somebody and stay with them while doing it, and that's nasty. You're gonna laying down with somebody else and then laying with your partner. Ill. That's how diseases are spread. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I've done it in the past, but women are more susceptible. I can't even say the word right now. It's a lot easier for women to get STDs than men are, But that part. Blaming social media for your failed relationships are your own faults. Nobody said social media was a thing that relationships failed. It said it made things harder. Clearly, you weren't listening. How could Five ever get so many likes on Tinder? Yo, because guys are desperate. That's funny. The guy says, "How could a Five get so many likes on Tinder?" Because your average guy isn't having sex like that. You know, they're not. It's so easy to meet people in person, but not everybody. A lot of guys get approach anxiety. Not everybody's okay with just walking up to people. You know, it's not easy for everybody out there. You look like Trick Williams. I have no idea who that is. Schoolboy Q. Time is it? Oh no. It was time for me to make my exit. Guys, I thought I was recording. I was trying to put on new quality videos, but it appears as if I wasn't. So we're going to keep this stream up. Anyway, guys, thank you everybody for joining. I'm out of here. I'll holler at you. Probably be back tomorrow.